Chapter 705, Mythical Creature. You didn't even need me to mention it. I was still a little embarrassed to raise the subject. Klein secretly heaved a sigh of relief. After considering Jayaman Sparrow's persona, he calmly said, "I do not take advantage of others." Just as he said that, he felt a little regretful. He was afraid that Vice Admiral Iceberg would really change her mind. Edwina's light blue eyes moved slightly as she said, "The only condition is that you have to tell me the answer to anything you figure out." Phew. Klein didn't harp on the issue as he nodded. Okay. About a minute later, he carried an iron-black key the size of a heptacord. And at that moment, there was a series of fervent singing from the deck. Your eyes are so mesmerizing that it feels like the light from dawn. When night comes and the sun has gone down, I almost start feeling melancholy, fervently awaiting your light. Oh, your eyes are so mesmerizing that it feels like the light from dawn. Klein subconsciously went to the window and looked out. He saw that the bonfire had already been lit, and the Golden Dreams crew that had nothing to do on their hands were gathered around it. They were either roasting meat or fish as they guzzled beer. Otherwise, they would be dancing a rather random but lively dance alongside singer Orpheus's singing. It was a very merry atmosphere. The oily roasting exuded a tantalizing aroma that wafted upwards. Klein saw that Anderson Hood was also among the pirates, drinking in high spirits and eating happily. From time to time, he would shout a few words and say a joke, as though he was already a member of the Golden Dream. He was no longer ostracized like before. Instead, Danitz didn't appear among them. At the very least, Klein didn't see him near Iron's skin or barrel. As long as he doesn't provoke others, Anderson is rather good at socializing. This might be the intelligence-gathering powers of a conspirer. Yes, he might have transferred the hatred onto me. I wonder if Danitz will work hard after what happened. If he can improve himself and acquire greater strength, then as the fool, I wouldn't only have myself as a subordinate. I don't have to always appear as a trinity. Heh, this secret existence of mine finally has a real believer, someone I can directly order to do things, even though it's only limited to Danitz. I have to say, it's still quite pathetic. As Klein reflected over the matter, he prepared a ritual to sacrifice the giant's key above the gray fog. At that moment, his spiritual perception was triggered as he instinctively activated his spirit vision and looked to the side. White bones were thrown up as they materialized into the messenger, with black flames in its eye sockets. Half of the messenger's body was in the lower deck, so it was nearly level with Jayaman's Sparrow without tearing through the ceiling. However, the palm holding the letter remained huge, as though it could easily wrap it around Klein's head. Mr. Azik was quite quick to reply this time. As Klein politely nodded, he received the letter and unfolded it. Just as he was about to read its contents, he suddenly realized that the skeleton messenger remained standing there. It didn't vanish once it delivered the letter. "Is there something?" Klein asked in surprise. Just as he said that, an idea flashed through his mind as he quickly added, "If there's a need to reply, then I will summon you again." The skeleton messenger's huge head nodded as its body collapsed like a waterfall before returning to the underworld. Ma'am Rionette Tinker previously waited for me to give a reply, same for the skeleton messenger this time. Is this some new regulation the messenger world has enacted? Pewee, there's no such thing as a messenger world. They're all individually summoned, and most messengers are just doing it part-time. Yes, the skeleton messenger gave me an aggrieved feeling. Klein shook his head without much thought before focusing his attention on Mr. Azik's letter. To put it simply, attaining godhood begins from the moment one advances to sequence 4. It's a slow process of evolution towards a mythical creature. This process comes to an end at sequence 2. Therefore, there is a qualitative difference between an angel and a saint. In ancient times, the former are even called subsidiary gods. Every demigod, including saints and angels, have their own mythical state. This is a non-human form which is a potpourri of complex knowledge, godhood characteristics, and secret symbols. Ordinary people will suffer tremendous damage from a simply glance to the point of losing their minds. And as the demigod grows in strength, the damage only grows more potent and irresistible. Therefore, creatures at this level have to constantly control themselves to not expose this form, or just from their very existence alone, it can bring about a catastrophe to their surroundings. To demigods, one of the main traits of losing control is losing reason. When that happens, they will no longer be able to restrain their mythical creature form. However, a saint's mythical form isn't complete. There are clear characteristics of their original race. Strictly speaking, one is a true mythical creature only after they reach sequence 2. I wonder if the blood that Ma'am Hermit wants is the blood of a mythical creature in the true sense of the phrase, or if the criteria can be relaxed. Heh, I wonder if the placenta blood from Will Ossipton's birth counts. He is a sequence 1 snake of fate, an absolute mythical creature, just not in the correct form. I'll accumulate more matters before writing on the paper crane to ask him. Yes, there are only 2 more times, so I need to do it for serious matters. However, I'll be returning to Backland soon. With this in mind, Klein silently calculated when Will Ossipton would be born. He didn't make an accurate recollection, but based on his impressions, Will Ossipton had been conceived last November, and it was currently only the middle of April. Therefore, he will be born in July, perhaps earlier. Klein thought without great certainty. After all, he didn't have a girlfriend or wife in his previous life, much less having a child. He quickly threw those thoughts to the back of his mind and began setting up the ritual. He sacrificed the giant's key to himself. The reason why he didn't use his spirit body to carry it, it was simply because it was too heavy. Soon, he arrived above the gray fog. He made the iron-black key fly onto the surface of the bronze table as he seriously inspected it a few times. After confirming that there wasn't anything abnormal about it, he conjured a pen and paper and wrote the divination statement, the place this key corresponds to. With the paper in hand and his arm around the key, Klein leaned back into his chair and fell asleep while chanting. This time, the gray, hazy world first presented a distorted, translucent screen. As the scene zoomed in, he immediately appeared before a 10-meter-tall door. The door was mainly gray and blue in color, and on its sides were various engraved symbols, labels, and patterns. They were stately and mysterious. The light of dusk shone over faintly, dyeing the door with a clear sense of decline. It was like the daylight was gone for the world, with only eternal eventide replacing it. Right on the heels of that, Klein noticed that the opening in the door's left side, at a height of 3 to 4 meters, there was a pitch-black socket which was equivalent to an adult's fist. The scene quickly shattered as Klein opened his eyes. A door similar to the black cloisters, but of a different color, the light of dusk. My interpretation is that it represents a particular door of the Giant King's court. Yes, the first distorted, translucent screen should be the barrier between the forsaken land of God and the outside world. Therefore, without the gray mist eliminating interference, there's no way to see the scene via divination. Klein tapped on the edge of the model table as he made judgment. He had already decided to buy the giant's key. After going through the hassle of bringing £5,000 in cash back to the real world, Klein tidied the items on the table and held a thick stack of cash. He left his room once again and walked to the captain's cabin. As a desire apostle, Kirchese's bounty is equivalent to a key and £1,000. Klein glanced at the cash in his hand as he knocked on Vice Admiral Iceberg's door again. With a creak, Edwina appeared by the door. When she saw him holding the cash, her brows twitched as she widened her eyes. She said with a brightened expression, "You have results." Klein tersely acknowledged, "I already obtained results that it's likely related to the Giant King's court." The Giant King's court as spoken in myths. Edwina's eyes lit up as she asked. Klein gently nodded in affirmation. Edwina's lips quivered as though she wished to inquire further, but ultimately she didn't say a word. She took the £5,000 in cash. She turned back to look at the rows of bookshelves in the captain's cabin and fell silent. She finally said to Klein seconds later, "If you're interested in these books, you can borrow them any time in the day. My only request is..." Klein secretly predicted what Vice Admiral Iceberg was about to say. "My only request is that you can talk to me about history whenever you're free." Edwina paused before she added with her eyes appearing bright. Klein chuckled inwardly and said after some thought, "All right, but I will not answer every question. Meanwhile, he silently prayed inwardly. Let's hope Vice Admiral Iceberg's collection has methods to create higher-level charms. No problem. The corner of Edwina's mouth twitched as her expression became livelier. See you tomorrow. Klein took off his hat and pressed it to his chest as he bowed to bid farewell. Edwina also seriously returned the pleasantries. See you tomorrow. Backland, Iron Gate Street, outside Braveheart's bar. Emlyn White got off a carriage, pushed open a wooden door, and walked in. He was then triggered by the mixture of smells inside, as he pinched his nose in contempt. He hadn't had much progress in the competition to hunt for the primordial moon believers. Therefore, he planned on heading to the Braveheart's bar, which Sherlock Moriarty often mentioned. He was there to find the rather informed black market arms dealer, Ian. The latter's name was acquired by Emlyn through other means. Adapted from O Sol Mio.